IT when you are ready.
We are live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. You are at a meeting of the Historic Districts Review Board. Today is June 23rd, 2026. And this meeting is now called to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Member Cherry,
Here.
Member Benvenu.
Here.
Chair Rios. Member Simmons,
Excused?
Member Bescheid.
Here.
Member Degnan.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Are there any changes to this evening's agenda? Gary?
Yes, Chair Rios. Under new business, item D, 2026-012-488 HDRB 925 Canyon Road has been postponed. Also, item I, 2026-012-570 HDRB 828 Paseo de Parralta has been withdrawn. And item J, 2026-012-572 HDRB 1563 Delora Estates has been postponed.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as just amended?
Move to approve as amended.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Bescheid, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Thank you. We do not have minutes in this evening's agenda, nor do we have findings of fact and conclusions of law. Is there anyone in this room that wishes to come forward and talk about matters that are of concern to you regarding H-Board districts? You may come forward at this point, not regarding your case, but regarding something that might be of your concern. Yes, no, nobody, it looks like. If you do, if it doesn't have anything to do with one of the cases this evening, that doesn't have anything to do with any of the cases this evening. If has something to do with the case this evening, I will allow you to speak later on. Is there anyone online that wishes to speak?
Yeah, Chair Rios, I do not see any hands raised for matters from the public.
Anything under staff communications?
Madam Chair, I am pleased to report that in a case that was pending in municipal court, there was a gentleman who lived at 639 Old Santa Fe Trail. His name is Michael Ortega. He's not the owner of the property, but he has occupied the property for several years. He had been cited for a violation of minimum maintenance standards. You've probably seen that property. The stucco is peeling away from the adobe, and the adobe is kind of running off, sloughing off and forming a pile there on the sidewalk. In a hearing in municipal court this morning, thanks to the diligence of our Historic Preservation Code Officer, Anthony Mestis, he was found guilty, and he has been set for a sentencing hearing on July 6th. My experience with the municipal judge that he's likely to get a probationary sentence with a condition that he bring his home into minimum maintenance standards compliance as a condition of his probation.
Right. Is there anything else under staff communications, Gary?
Yes, Chair Rios. The information for 334 Garcia on the stucco issue. Heather Lamboy, Nunji Director, has reached out to him, but no answer to the phone call. I did the same with, I reached out to him. That was in end of May, and there was no answer. And I do believe Inspector Anthony Maestas did the same thing. So no answer. At this time, Anthony Maestas will go ahead and issue a citation into municipal court.
Anything else?
Yes, Chair Rios. I have some information that it's bittersweet that I will be retiring the city of Santa Fe. So This week is my last week. They requested 2 weeks information, so I notified them last week, and this Friday will be my last. So I will be retiring from the city of Santa Fe.
Gary, it has been our pleasure working with you, and I want to thank you for your service and your work for the city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. How many years did you work for the city?
Total of 21 years and 9 months. So that's,
So you're ready to call it
I'm
quit.
ready to call it. So
Days and hours, please.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah.
Anything else? Any other surprises?
no, not at this time, Cherios.
So we do not have anything under old business, but we have a number of cases under new business. And we'll go to the first item. Did you say item A was postponed? 1226? No? Okay. We'll go to the first case, which is located at 1226 Cerro Gordo. Is that applicant here? And
Yes, Madam Chair.
thank you. So Amanda, may we hear the case?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Our mics have a little kickback this evening, so if it gets a bit much, let us know. So this is for 12, case number 2026-012-513 HDRB at 1226 Cerro Gordo, Unit A, and which is in the downtown in Eastside Historic District. This property was constructed in 2004 in a Spanish Pueblo Revival style. The single-family residence is 1,480 square feet. And the house has divided light windows, deep inset canales, and portals with corbels and vigas. So here you will see the site plan on the left is the existing, and the site plan on the right is the proposed. The applicant is proposing to build a 400 square foot portal, enclose the carport, change out the windows, stucco, and a condenser in the back, ground mounted. And then as well as doing a rooftop deck with stairs or tall on the back here. So I'll just go through the elevations for you quickly. This is the north elevation, which is the rear of the building. And this is where the stairs will be located. They are raising the parapet a bit, but it still stands within the height. They are enclosing the portal, the existing carport portal, and bringing out that existing door to the surface. On the, I believe this is the east elevation. And here we have the west elevation. They are changing out windows. They were previously divided light. This is not necessarily the publicly visible side. And again, this is non-contributing building. And they are changing out the windows in the front. There is going to be a large picture window, but it's going to be under the new portal. So, and then also they are enclosing the existing carport. And these are going to be true divided light windows that will be changed out. And staff recommends approval of the proposed project and finds the application complies with section 14-4.6 general design standards for all historic districts and 14-4.6 G2 downtown and east side standards. I stand for questions.
Thank you, Amanda. Any questions at this time for Amanda, board members? Yes, Member Beachhead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a question for Amanda about the 3-foot rule from the corner on the west and east elevations. It looks like maybe the existing condition violates that as well. Is that right, or am I looking at the drawings?
The west and the east?
Yes.
So I do believe that they met the 3-foot rule. I don't have dimensions on this particular window. I can say for the west for sure, it really does seem that it's 3 feet. But I could not speak to the east, but I can allow the applicant to answer to that. But I do know that I don't believe any of the window dimensions are really going to change. I do believe it's just the window type.
Yeah, okay. It appears that it's really close to the corner, but maybe I'm just seeing that in a different way. Thank you.
And that may be existing on the new one.
Any other questions? Other questions at this time? Chris, you want to come forward and get sworn in?
Both raise your right hands and then speak your name and address in the record.
Christopher Purvis, 518 Old Santa Fe Trail.
Jeremy Ian Martin, 12260 Saratoga, Unit A.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth, and nothing but the truth, and do so under penalties of perjury?
Yeah.
Please proceed.
Madam Chair, first, I'm going to miss Gary. Sorry. It was caught me by off guard. In reference to your question about how close we are to the yeah, you switched me to the second.
Yeah.
It's in their
packet.
I think the floor plan will answer some of these questions, but the rear elevation of this building has sort of bay windows. And so that's what's creating that in line that looks like they're violating the rule, but that's how they're set up. I stand for other questions.
Chris, did you have anything further to tell us?
I don't.
The owner doesn't.
Unless there are questions.
Oh, yes, Member Cherry.
Yeah, what are the windows gonna be?
They're wood clad aluminum.
What
Clad wood.
wood window? Okay, because in the presentation, Amanda was saying true divided light. So are they true divided light or simulated divided light?
So the ones that are on the street facing elevation are, we call them true divided lights, but it's on the outside, the inside with a spacer bar.
Okay,
It's one piece of glass.
yeah, gotcha. Okay, so
Not what's there now, which is in between the glass.
right, or on the inside, or yeah. Okay, so it's a simulated divided light, but it's the type that we typically approve. So yes,
That's correct.
gotcha. Okay. And do you have a brand selected of that yet, or just to get an idea?
Oh,
Yeah, we're looking at Pella.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Any other questions, board members? Anyone in this room wanted to comment in reference to this particular project? No? And anyone online?
Yes, Chair Rios. I see Anne Marie Huddleston. Ms. Huddleston, if you would like to state your name and address for the record, be sworn in before you provide your comment on this case. You can begin. Ms. Huddleston, there we go.
You have bay windows?
I'm sorry, can you state your name and address and be sworn in before you give your testimony, please?
Anne Marie Huddleston, 164 East Houghton Street.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do so under the penalties of perjury?
Yes.
Please proceed.
So you've got some bay windows on this house, is that correct?
Yes, that is on the north elevation.
And those are historically accurate to this type of look? Are they?
Maybe the best answer to that question is this, we are not changing the floor plan. They're not actually completely bay windows. There are 3 windows put together on a hexagonal form that was part of the original building. We're just
Okay.
changing the glass in those windows.
Thank you. That's all.
And did you have any further comments or questions?
Not for me.
And do we have anyone else?
No, Chair Rios, I don't see any other hands raised.
There are no further questions or comments from the board. I will entertain a motion at this point. Yes. Member Cherry.
So in case 2026-0125-13 HDRB at 1226 Cerro Gordo Unit A, Downtown Eastside Historic District, I would move to approve the application as submitted and note that the applicant has met all of the criteria for approval.
Is there a second?
Beachside seconds.
Anything further to add? Nothing further. Roll call vote, please.
Vice Chair Benvenu,
Yes.
Member Beachside,
Yes.
Member Degnan,
Yes.
Member Cherry.
Yes.
Madam Chair, motion's passed.
Thank you both very much. Good luck on your project. Next case is located at 619 West Alameda, and it's that applicant here. Lanny, is the applicant here?
We're checking online.
Oh, I should tell you that if you disagree with the decision this board renders this evening, you do have the option to appeal to the city council. And you do need to get together with staff so that they can guide you through the process.
It looks like he's online.
Lanny, you have the floor.
This is case 2026-012285 HDRB. Yeah, you have to stay. Okay, for 619 West Alameda Street for a remodel and new construction. 619 West Alameda is on the north side of Alameda's across from the Santa Fe River Park. The 702 square foot family, single family residence is listed as contributing to the West Side Guadalupe Historic District. The Spanish Pueblo Revival structure is constructed of adobe and pentile. The adobe portion of the residence was constructed about 1943, with the pentile addition being, can't make this work. change slides on me. No, I'm trying to go down here. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Where's my mouse? Lost my mouse, so I do apologize. Okay, so the property came before the Historic Districts Review Board back in March of 2026 with a proposal to install the bond beam, repair some historic windows, re-roof the residence, and to construct some yard walls. I'm just gonna, I got this. The applicant is currently proposing to construct a 169 square foot addition to the height of 11 feet 6 inches to replace the demolished 1975 addition on the north elevation residence. And then there's no additional changes to the primary south facade. So they're still going to do the work that was already approved, but they would like that addition in addition. That made sense. Okay, the addition is located where the 1975 addition was. It's visible on your east, west, and north elevations. The view of the structure will be very similar to the structure before the 2023 collapse of the rear addition and is a minimum of 10 feet from our primary facades. Let's see. So there's no other changes on that building, but they are also proposing a new structure. The new structure is going to be 745 square foot residential structure. It'll be to a height of 10 feet, 6.5 inches, where the maximum is 14 feet 10. The style will be a recent Santa Fe style. So it's similar in design to the historic building so that it blends with the property, but it does not mimic it. This way, the two structures can be distinguished and each is a physical record of its time and place. On the property, the applicant is also planning to construct a 60-inch high interior coyote fence between the structures and some hardscaping. The staff is recommending approval of the project and finds that the application complies with 14-4.6E for general design standards for all historic districts and 14-4.6G5 for the West Side Guadalupe Historic District.
Thank you, Lanny. Lanny, is the applicant wanting to keep the same colors? You can ask the applicant.
Yeah, I think we're going to need to ask them what the actual color was.
Okay.
Have that in front of me.
Board members, any questions at this point for Lanny? Nope, but the applicant is online. We will get him sworn in and ask him any questions that we might have.
Hello.
Are they asking you to speak?
Hi, Max, are you there?
I am. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Maxfield Scott. My address is 22 Avenida del Monte Alto.
Thank you. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. He has been sworn.
Mr. Scott, you have the floor, and tell us what you would like to tell us that staff may not have told us, or
Sure.
anything you want to add.
Yeah, so to answer your question, we are gonna, match the stucco to the front and as well as the staining and all of that will be matched. And so there's a continuity between the two structures. And really just trying to improve the main structure that's here and also improve the usage of the lot and things like that, as well as trying to conform with traditional Pueblo style and Santa Fe style.
You, I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. This particular house is a very simple house. And it does need, some TLC, and I think you are providing that in the correct manner, actually. You're not trying to make something that it shouldn't be. You're going about it in my estimation, you're going about it in the right manner. And I think the end product will be good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me see if other board members have, comments or questions. Anybody? Member Benedine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So yeah, I'd echo Chair Rios's comments. Really, really happy with the project and the way you're preserving this extremely simple, humble building is to be commended and not overwhelming it with additions. So thank you for that. My only question is, I know I think somewhere in the packet you indicate an intent to differentiate to some extent the addition compared to the original, which is fine. But I'm assuming, since you're saying it's going to be in a traditional style, that it will have rounded corners and deep reveals and the other indicia of traditional style appearing to be built out of adobe. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're not going to try and do a contemporary Pueblo style. We're going to keep it traditional as to what would be traditional in the neighborhood and what would speak true to this house.
Great. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Member Cherry.
Yeah, I would reiterate to what Chair Rios and Member Bienvenu said. I think it's a good design and use of this lot and very appropriate design for the historic district. So thank you.
Thank you. I will ask for public comment. Anyone in this room wishing to comment on this particular project? Looks like Elizabeth West is coming forward. Elizabeth, if you'll state your name and address and get sworn in.
Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Elizabeth West, 318 Center Street, Santa Fe, South Capitol.
Elizabeth, do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll just put my hand up like this or so. I don't know. Interesting. Stand back. It's fun to echo. Obviously, tonight is a good time for me to echo. I would like to echo what Chair Rios has said. Bienvenue, Cherry, and no doubt what the others are thinking. So I think it's very exciting. I hope we can give this place an award when it's all successfully done. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is no one else in this room. Is there anyone online?
Yes, Chair Rios, we have Ms. Beninato. Okay. Ms. Beninato, please state your name and address for the record. Be sworn.
Stephanie Beninato, P.O. Box 1601, Santa Fe, New Mexico. I too
Hi,
am happy.
Stephanie, do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth, nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
Yes. I too appreciate that the house, the historic house is not being, made too big or has any more additions than what was really there in 1975. I'm wondering, one thing is the sills are kind of distinct. I wonder if those sills are going to be replicated in the new house. And then my question is maybe more of a zoning question, but if the back house is an ADU, I thought there was a size limitation that it couldn't be more than 50% of the main house. And maybe the city has loosened those ordinances or limitations, but that would be a concern for me. Or is the lot going to be split at some point and they'll become two separate residences? So that's just my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Anyone else online? No one else.
Can I just clarify?
Yes, Lanny?
So guest houses are limited to 1,500 square feet in the city or equal to the size of the main house. So they can be the same size as the main house.
And this one is what in square footage?
The guest house is 763 square feet, which is comparable to the existing house.
Thank you. Board members, a motion is in order right now. May I hear that, please? Member Benvenu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can I ask Mr. Mokino if he has an opinion as to what the average radius would be in this streetscape?
Chair Rios, member Benvenu, in this area would be like about 2.5 radius corners.
Okay, thank you. What about the depth of the window reveals?
So it'll be about approximately 2 inches.
Okay. So in case 2026-012285, yes, HDRB 619 West Alameda Street, I move that the application be approved as submitted with the condition as agreed upon or as proposed actually by the applicant that the corners will be rounded and the reveals will be deep enough to suggest the mass of the structure, which would be a minimum of a 2.5-inch radius and a minimum of a 2-inch deep reveal.
Second, Degnan.
Member Cherry,
Yes.
Member Benvenu,
Yes.
Member Degnan,
Yes.
Member Biesheup.
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Thank you.
Good luck on your project. Next case is located at 998 Acequia Madre. Is that applicant here? Yeah. And may we hear from you, Lanny?
Okay. So this is case 2026-012-487 HDRB for 998 Acequia Madre for a freestanding carport. The property at 998 Acequia Madre is located on the south side of the road at the Canyon Road Acequia Madre Y intersection. The Spanish Pueblo Revival style residence and guest house were constructed before 1940 and are listed as non-contributing to the downtown and east side historic district due to the number of alterations on the property. The applicant is proposing to construct a 426 square foot freestanding carport to a height of 9 feet 7 inches, sorry. The carport will be constructed of stuccoed masonry columns, exposed wood beams and corbels, and a stuccoed parapet. The roof will be sloped with TPO in a tan color. The parking surface will be brick on sand, and the stucco will be cementitious fawn to match the residence. The carport is open on all sides and will be entered from the west. And then staff recommends approval of the proposed project and finds that the application complies with section 14-4.6E for general design standards and 14-4.6 G2 for the downtown and east side design standards.
Thank you, Lanny. Any questions for Lanny? No questions. Applicant, if you'll come forward, please.
Hi, please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Mark Brown, 998 Acequia Madre.
Mark, do you solemnly declare and affirm the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you. He has been sworn.
Good evening, Mr. Brown. Did you have anything further to add?
No.
And board members, do you have any questions for Mr. Brown? They don't. And does anyone in this room want to speak about this project? Nobody. And is there anyone online?
Thank you, Chair Rios. I do not see any hands raised for this public comment.
Okay, thank you. Board members, I will entertain a motion. Member Benvenu.
Case 2026-012-487 HDRB at 998 Acequia Madre. I move to approve the application as submitted.
Beachhead second.
Roll call vote, please.
Member Degnan,
Yes.
Member Cherry,
Yes.
Member Bichette,
Yes.
Member Benvenu.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the motion has passed.
Thank you. Well, that was painless. Next case is located at 925 Canyon Road. Is the applicant here?
925 Canyon has been postponed.
Oh, this one is this one? Okay.
Right, so our next case is actually the 507, 511 Paseo.
Okay. 507 Paseo de Peralta. And is the applicant here?
Yes, she is. I am going to present the next two cases. For 507 and 511 Paseo de Peralta together, since they are planned and as a single project. These are cases 2026-12490 HDF. For the 507 Paseo de Peralta and case 2026-012491 for 511 Paseo de Peralta. This is all new construction on a vacant lot. PowerPoint's not up, is it? Let's try that. Can we put the PowerPoint up, please? Thank you. Okay, so the property at 507 Paseo de Peralta is located at the northeast corner of Paseo de Peralta and Magdalena Road. The subject property is vacant with an asphalt parking lot. There are existing retaining walls along the north and east property lines and short retaining walls on the southwest of the property. Property at 511 Paseo de Peralta is located to the east of the corner of Paseo de Peralta and Magdalena on the north side of the road. The subject property is a 0.37 acre vacant lot with some vegetation, and the remains of a previous structure was not completed. There are existing retaining walls along the north and east property lines and a short rock retaining wall along Paseo de Peralta. 511 Paseo de Peralta was previously attached to 515 Paseo de Peralta, which is referenced in the 2004 case. The property originally came forward in 2004 for development under case H041114. The removal of the south property line was denied, so the project did not proceed. The property then returned for a new design in 2009 under case H09032. This project was approved but was not able to proceed due to issues with the development plan expiration. Project came forward again in 2014 under case H14034. This time the project also included the development of the lot at 507 Paseo de Peralta. The development plan was delayed, so the applicant received 3 one-year extensions to maintain the historic approval until the development plan was approved. Unfortunately, the development plan was then approved in 2023. And however, the applicant no longer had financial guarantee for the project, so the project was delayed further. The development plan has been extended and is now on file. The applicant is asking that the project, with a few minor changes, be approved so that the project can proceed with the new financial guarantees. So on the 507 Paseo de Peralta site, the applicant is proposing to construct 4,235 square foot multifamily residence to a height of 24 feet, where the maximum allowable height is 25 feet on the vacant lot. All buildings are of Pueblo Revival design with earth tone stucco finishes, designed with flat roofs and parapets. Each building uses a variety of setbacks and offsets to break up the massing. Proposed project includes 4 condominiums in a 2-story building. The tract is zoned BCD Marcy, which allows for greater lot coverage than residentially zoned lots. The tract has an approved 2003 development plan with the city, which matches this request. Detail finishes include stone caps on chimneys, metal fascia columns, roofing, and railing. Windows are wood clad. Yard walls are to a height of 4 feet, which is the maximum in this BCD district. They will define the perimeter of the tract. The existing historic stone wall will remain with no modifications. At the property at 511 Paseo de Peralta, the applicant is proposing to construct 6,212 square foot multifamily residence to a height of 27 feet 6 inches, where the maximum allowable height is 23 feet. It is on a sloping lot, which is why they're asking for the extra height. All buildings are of Pueblo Revival design with earth-toned stucco finishes designed with flat roofs and parapets. Each building uses a variety of setbacks and offsets to break up the massing. The proposed project includes 5 condominiums in a 2-story building. Tract is zoned R21, which allows for multiple units on the lot. The tract has an approved 2023 development plan with the city, which matches this request. Detail finishes include stone caps on chimneys and metal fascia, columns, roofing, and railing. Windows are wood clad, yard walls to a height of 6 feet. Will define the private open spaces behind the existing historic stone wall. The existing historic stone wall will remain with no modifications. These projects work in unison. The overall project with both addresses roofed area will be 12,693 square feet with a gross floor area of 13,790. The full project will have a single driveway entrance to the shared parking lot. The changes between the previously approved design and existing design are some window and door changes. These are views of the 2 properties together in order to get a better perspective of the overall project. It's a little small. These are the south elevations together. And these are the elevations that are facing the project parking area. And then this is the elevation along Magdalena. This is the elevation facing the neighbors at the 515 Paseo de Peralta. And I do want to just point out that at our site visit today, they did have up their story poles, but the story poles were tied to the fences. So they did not actually indicate actual setbacks for the property. There is a 5-foot setback on the side that separates 511 Paseo de Peralta from 515 Paseo de Peralta. That was a concern of one of our neighbors. Staff is recommending approval of the proposed projects for both cases, 2026-012490 for the 507 Paseo de Peralta and 2026-012491 for 511 Paseo de Peralta, and finds that the applications comply with section 14-4.6 general design standards for all historic districts and 14-4.6 G2 for the downtown and east side design standards. Stand for questions.
Thank you, Lanny. Lanny, would you reiterate the number of buildings for each project?
Correct. So the 507 Paseo de Peralta will have 4 townhomes. And it's in the equivalent of 2 buildings. And then the one on the 511 is 5 townhomes in, I'm sorry, I have that back. The 507 is 4 townhomes in a single building, and the 511 is 2 buildings with a total of 5 townhomes.
2 buildings, 5.
So the full project is 3 buildings with 9 townhomes.
Also, and reiterate the height of the project.
Okay, so the 507 is going to be to 24 feet. The 511 building is going to be taller at 27.6.
How close are these projects to Paseo de Peralta, to that front of the property away from?
So the 507 is does not require a setback. So it is basically to the property line. There is currently that yard wall out in front. So it's going to be up to that yard wall. The setback for 511, because it's residential, they have to have at least 7 feet.
And is that 7-foot met?
That 7 foot is met, yes.
Okay, and would you tell us again why 507 does not need a setback?
It's because it's a BCD district rather than a residential district.
So 507 is BCD district and the other, and 511 is residential. So they fall under different city rules, correct?
Correct.
And is any part of this project one story?
Yes, there are sections of the buildings that are only one story, but the majority of it is two-story overall.
And when you say, yes, they are one story, are you talking about porches, or what are you talking about? Actual portions of the building?
So there are actual sections of living space that are one story. The garages are one story, and then there's on top of the one stories, there's usually a balcony or such.
And can you talk to us about open space? Do these properties have the required open space?
They do. They meet the development plan requirements for open space. That open space is actually between the buildings. So it's like where the swimming pool is going to be located, that kind of thing. There are some private smaller yards that will be fenced as well.
And are these buildings, they are in the recent Santa Fe style, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Will they have rounded corners? Will they have inset windows?
I'm going to let the applicant answer that question.
Let me see if other board members have questions. Member Benvenu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Lanny. Yeah, I guess the potentially confusing aspect of this application is the packet, and to some extent the presentation by staff, I think is proceeding on kind of a tacit assumption that this is more or less just a reapproval request for what was already approved in 2014. And so the focus is on a couple of or several modifications to that. Whereas I think in reality, this is really a brand new application coming before us, because that 2014 approval, obviously 12 years ago, is a long time. Lots has changed since then, but more importantly, that application, that approval has expired, has it not, for several years now?
Yes.
And so once that expires, anyone that wants to start up the project again really is coming before the board de novo and asking for a complete review of the project, right?
Correct.
Okay. And it seems to me then that, the packet feels thin to me for such a major project in such an extremely prominent location. Normally, when we have buildings of this magnitude, we spend quite a bit of time on them, typically multiple meetings, sometimes committees are formed. We see scale models sometimes. I know that's not required under the code, but it's often provided by applicants. We see 3D modeling. There's typically some back and forth between the applicant and the board before we are usually able to reach a final decision as to whether the original plans or plans as revised through consultation with the board are to be approved or not. So I find it just a little bit difficult to do that now, because although I respect the fact that it was approved in 2014, I don't think we're bound by it. And I think that even the decision makers at that time would say they wouldn't expect anyone to be bound by it 12 years later if that project never occurred, just because circumstances change. And I think this might even be a completely new owner. I mean, the name is at least different. I don't know if that's what that indicates, but again, it just seems like a completely new proposal to me. So that's one thing. I guess, we've had some comments from neighbors, which is always appreciated. I just want to get some clarification as to what is and isn't within our jurisdiction to make decisions regarding. So one of the concerns, of course, is the fact that there's very limited setbacks. In fact, I think almost no setback on one of these properties on the north side. Is that something that the board has any say over?
That's underlining zoning code. So it's not really purview of the H board.
Okay, so there's no provision in the code, the historic overlay district aspect, part of the code that would allow the board to impose any conditions on the applicant with respect to required setbacks. Is that fair to say?
No, I think in the sense that the H board has jurisdiction over the streetscape, the over final, does it fit in the streetscape? That portion of the code would still apply for you. So you
Okay.
could still say, it doesn't fit into our streetscape, so we'd rather it be redesigned. But as far as the setback requirements, those are.
So you're saying that the board could impose a greater setback than the underlying zoning requires? Maybe that should be directed to the city
I
attorney.
think I'm going to ask Maggie that one, yeah.
Or to
So I don't
Director
think
Moore.
you can.
I just want to know what we are and are not considering tonight. And I will just say that I understand completely that the board has jurisdiction over matters of massing and height pertaining to the streetscape, but I'm just really specifying the issue of setbacks right now.
So you,
Maggie or Attorney Rubali, can you?
And
answer the
the
question?
answer might be different depending on whether we're talking about the streetscape or the north side of the property. I don't know.
The answer is the board could impose more stringent requirements than the code requires. I don't know how that would be seen on appeal. Yeah, I don't know if the court would uphold that. My belief is you would have to have some very specific findings of fact to support that.
Okay.
I get a point of clarification from you.
Yeah.
So because what I'm hearing is that sort of to impose setback in order to meet the criteria of harmonizing with the streetscape.
That might be it. That I think that I would just say we unequivocally have the ability to do that, I believe, under our ordinance. I'm just not sure it applies to setbacks as opposed to, as I said, height, massing, and some of the other things that are specifically called out in the ordinance.
So that was my point of clarification specifically was to impose setbacks in order to bring something into making it harmonious with the streetscape.
Right. Or for example, and again, an even more difficult question perhaps is on the north side of the property where it's not even really the streetscape per se, but an effect on neighboring properties. If the board has any authority over that, zero setback that's being proposed.
Again, I think you would have to find something that is consistent with the historic code.
Right.
And you would have to make specific findings of fact. Harmony with the surrounding buildings and streetscape is found in the code, and I could cite that section for you if you want the specific citation.
Okay, well, maybe we can get to that then. So it sounds like it's a bit of an open question depending on how the discussion proceeds. What about another concern that's been raised is the retaining wall, the structural stability. Is that something that we should be considering, or is that something the city has under consideration through another department?
It's under consideration from the development plan. They are required to secure that retaining wall.
Okay.
It is allowed to remain at the height and the location where it is, but it does have to be stabilized.
Okay, so that's helpful. I do think, though, that the issues that are unequivocally before us are all of the typical issues that relate to a project in our district, but in greater magnitude, obviously, because of the size of this building. So that is, I'm a little unclear. It's still, even after Chair Rios's question as to what style the building is really in, it seemed to me that it evolved, or I would say devolved, from the 2004 original proposal, which was quite attractive and really, I thought, would have been a really nice addition, and also would have given up quite a few units to the 2014 proposal that was a huge step backwards to where we are today, which I think is actually a slight improvement on 2014 in some ways, because we've gotten rid of the really tacky stone veneer work, but we still have some, I think, serious issues of what style is this? It doesn't really speak to a strong style. When that happens, they usually get shoehorned into a recent Santa Fe style catch-all category, but really it's a very sort of unaesthetic catch-all that just seems to say it's going to be stuccoed and have some nods towards Santa Fe style, but really doesn't have any aesthetic coherence. In addition, it seems to me that it has a lot of steel elements, which staff normally says we need an exception for in this district. The prior proposal, I believed, had both wood and steel, so that's another change, and I think staff would need to address with us whether or not, why there's no exception request for those steel elements. And the board, I think, really needs to look very hard at the issue of under height, even before we get to whether the additional height is warranted, which is whether even the allowable height is first correctly calculated, because being on the streetscape, there are very few tall buildings. And some of them are institutional, which are like the Scottish Rite Temple, which are supposed to be excluded from the calculations. And in addition, even when there is a height calculation, the ordinance instructs the board to take into account whether or not the height and massing is proportional to the structures on the existing streetscape. And I would say pretty clearly that this is what we've seen so far is out of proportion, especially the extremely tall frontage that's fronting almost directly onto the sidewalk on Paseo de Peralta, I think is highly problematic. And also, we're instructed to consider, if not mandate, step backs in situations where there is a potential proportion problem with the existing streetscape and the requested height. So I think that at a bare minimum, this project should probably be stepped back from 1 story on the streetscape and possibly 2 stories on the north side. So that's just my preliminary thoughts right now, but hopefully some of that will be clarified by the applicant.
Okay, the applicant did give us a model, and I would like to show that to you. It is a digital model, so it's not in paper or whatever. But let me give you her digital here, so you can kind of get an idea. The video kind of moves a little bit fast, so if you need me to pause, just let me know. Really loud. I don't know if that helped or not, but
Well, thank you for that. I mean, obviously we would need to stop at some of that. It goes by pretty fast. So it's extremely helpful to see it. I think it reinforces what I was saying about the generic nod or a nod to a generic Southwestern style. It's not convincing to me by any stretch of the imagination. And I also think it has another element that is prohibited, which is cantilevers. It looked like all the roofs were cantilevered, which is not acceptable, I don't think, under our code.
cantilevers are
Thank you very
only,
much for your comments, and I agree with you. These two cases are brand new cases, and that's the way we should evaluate them. And Lanny, how would you, I have a question for you in terms of height. How would you evaluate the height or of these proposed buildings to the existing homes on the north side?
most of the houses to the north are single-story homes. But, so because
Right,
it's
but
hills.
they
they're
sit,
below and
those homes sit on a hill, correct?
Yes, and they're single family, they're single stories.
But are they going to be, because they sit up way high, are they going to be at the same height as this? Or are the proposed buildings going to be taller than the,
I think it depends on which house it is, but for the most part, those houses will be looking at the roof of this building. All right. So for the most part, those houses, they'll be looking at the roof of this building. They're just a little bit taller than this building.
and other board members, do you have comments? Member Beachside?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a couple of comments, and I appreciate that point because I think in those discussions about 515 Paseo de Peralta, we focused on the development on that hill that kind of increases with the hill. And so I think if we're contemplating a structure that sort of kind of erases that hill by building 2 stories that are equal to whatever's built above it, that's kind of a pretty big difference on the street frontage. The other things I'd like to be considered are the parking. I know there's some rules about parking that we don't have purview over, but there's a lot of parking, and I think that will be quite visible from Paseo, because the driveway's in between those 2 structures, and then the parking seems to be on either side of the driveway, with garages and parking spaces. And I think in the video, it kind of highlighted, and I looked at again at the elevations, there are several windows that are very close to the roof line, which seems unusual for designs in this area, especially when they're illuminated like in the video. But and then just to sort of emphasize John's point about the kind of dialogue we've had on similar projects like the La Sequoia down the street. We talked about extensively about setbacks and while what was accomplished was not exactly park-like like was sold to us, it's certainly set back with some plantings and pedestrian friendly frontage, which I don't see in this project. So I do think it could benefit from some more discussion and possibly like an actual physical model that shows us, what the placement on the street and the setbacks and, sort of what we can see from Paseo.
Thank you. Other board members have comments at this point? Member Cherry?
I was going to wait to hear from the applicant and then make comments.
Applicant or applicants, would you come forward, please?
Hi, can you please raise your right hand, state your name and address for the record?
Marisol Ortiz. I'm sorry, Marisol Ortiz, 6 La Vida Trail, Santa Fe, 87507.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the address. Can you?
6 La Vida Trail, 87507.
Thank you. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, that you do this under the penalties of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. It's been sworn, Chair.
Good afternoon. I am pleased to present the Peralta project. We are proposed a new development of 9 units, as you see in the video, located in the heart of the downtown Santa Fe. Each townhome has been thoughtfully designed to honor Santa Fe iconic architectural character, reflecting the rich culture of this community. The project will add 9 luxury units on the city most vibrant, significant neighborhoods.
Excuse me for interrupting. Can you all hear her?
Oh,
That's what I
sorry.
thought. I think we can. We need to get that mic situation corrected.
Can you hear me better? Can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So the project will add 9 luxury residential units to the city most vibrant, significant neighborhoods, just step from this plaza, local business and public transportation. And to give you, sorry. I was thinking that we were going to show the video after, but after I talked to you, but the video was already played. So we respectfully request the board approval to move forward with the construction. We are committed to work with the city of Santa Fe to ensure this project meet the standards of this community and bring lasting value to the downtown area. So whatever you would like us to adjust on the plans. Try this. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened to the microphone. So I'm ready to take questions. As Lanny explained, the project is 9 townhomes and in 507 and 511 Paseo de Peralta.
So other than recent Santa Fe style, how would you describe the architectural style of this project?
Well, oh, sorry. The plans were already done and previously approved. I don't know where the last time they were reviewed by the board. My understanding is that they were submitted and review again for the extension, and nothing have changed since the last review. I don't have the time when they were reviewed.
How would you describe the architectural style representing?
I would say, well, modern Pueblo maybe style.
As Member Bienvenu said, obviously this is a very large project.
I understand.
And it's right near the heart of the plaza, and it's going to make a big impact. In my view, I believe that at this point that I would like to, depending on how this, what the questioning happens this evening, but I do feel that the project needs more work. And I think that it would be a good idea to have a subcommittee appointed to work with your group.
Okay.
That is what I am thinking at this point. I want to see what questions this group board has for you at this point. But I do want to appoint a subcommittee and to work with you all to iron out some of the concerns that the board has and that I'm sure that the community has. And I will hear from the community and then anybody in this room that has concerns. Board members, do you have questions for the applicant at this time? Any questions for the applicant? People from the public that are in this room, how many of you are here to comment on this particular project? Please come forward and get sworn in. All of you can line up here.
I'm going to go ahead and swear you all in together. So you'll raise your right hand and then when you get to the podium, state your name and address for the record before you speak. Okay? Do you solemnly declare and affirm the raise your right? Oh, you've already been sworn. Do you solemnly declare and affirm the testimony you have a reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury? Okay, thank you. Please proceed. The microphones having a little problems. So just kind of.
Okay. I will ask all people, normally I limit the time to 2 minutes. I will ask you to be as concise as possible and to get to your point. I want to give you your due.
Yeah.
You're here in front of us. You took the time to come here to speak. So I do want to, we all want to hear from you.
Sure. Thank you. I think I can be pretty concise. My name is Shahan Pearl, and I reside at 310 Magdalena Road, which is the property directly north or uphill from the proposed building site. I share all of the board's expressed concerns about the overall appearance and character of this project, but I will, for the sake of brevity, concentrate my comments on the north side of the building directly between my property and the proposed building site. Two issues that feel most critical to us are the retaining wall, which was never engineered and there's no record of its building. It's crumbling on top and it is visibly leaning over. It seems like a terrible idea to build a multi-million-dollar structure directly in its fall path, especially with a zero setback, so that there is absolutely no room for error and there is no way to address or remediate any issues that might come up with that retaining wall. It also, as drawn, creates some really peculiar features, such as portals that face directly into concrete buttresses and dead spaces that feel like they will simply accumulate debris and detritus. There's also a fall danger, which does not seem to be remediated or addressed with any fall protection in their elevations. Second is that zero setback that they would like to use, given that the lot is commercial. Whether or not it is legal, given code for them to do so, we feel that it would greatly compromise our privacy and quality of life. Our second floor windows would be on eye level with our kitchen windows, and they would be extremely close. We would get to know those people a little too well. Also further down the driveway, the narrowness of the driveway would create a real danger of colliding with their wall during winter time when the driveway might be slippery. It seems so much more sensible to have a fence between our two properties rather than a wall that is directly on our property line along our driveway. And lastly, that also seems to assume that they would be building from our driveway and using our driveway for maintenance access, because there's no room for them to plaster or build without standing directly in our driveway to do so. And as far as I understand it, we do not have any legal obligation to give them that access.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Quincy and I live in the same house as Shahan. Oh, sorry, Quincy Sweeney, 310 Magdalena. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak today. And I just wanted to say, we bought this house. We always knew that lot would be developed. We're not against the development of it. And we really think that the right thing there would be phenomenal for the neighborhood. And I think we just really want to emphasize the potential issues with the compatibility of this proposed building to the surroundings. My main concern is the proximity to the residential, like to our property, as well as the public space of the sidewalk. The proposed structure seems very, very close to the property line. And I think because of the height and the massing, it's going to be a very strong visual presence next to us as well as along Paseo. And again, while it may be allowed under zoning, I would ask the board to consider whether additional setbacks, step backs, or other design refinements could create a more comfortable transition between the building and nearby residents. I would also ask the board to take a good look at the project's consistency with the historic streetscape. It really feels like there doesn't match the scale, spacing, the open areas that are really a big part of the neighborhood as it still stands currently. Yeah, and I think basically it's out of scale with what's going on around it. And it's going to be a huge impact on us personally and the neighborhood and everyone that drives Paseo every day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next person, state your name and your address.
Becca Mudge, I'm at 337 Magdalena. I'm not representing my sister at 335 Magdalena. And I would like to point out that Mike Fisher was our architect and for every property down Magdalena to Paseo, other than the Horns, which is of course a very historic property. So that is the style that, in that very, very definite Santa Fe style in the neighborhood. And we would definitely like that to be honored and respected. It's why we're there. And I certainly support their position. They have worked so hard on that property. And it's good. They're going to be very impacted by that extra height. That is something that's definitely going to be impactful on them. We also have drainage issues. They've been very impacted by that. I don't know what they're thinking, where all that water is going off their roofs. That is certainly something to consider. Thank you very much.
Hello, Elizabeth West, South Capitol area. I already told you where I live. I think this this project is really trying and has a lot to learn so far about the styles, and to call it modern Pueblo is kind of an odd version, but I salute them for trying to learn about it. They have a ways to go. I think this design probably at this point doesn't fit in. The cantilevered stuff, very good point, important. Setbacks seem really tight. They're not even cozy. I think they feel uncomfortable to me. I haven't actually walked around there on the property, but I walk in that area a lot. So I think there's a lot of work that might need to be done. The idea from Chair Rios of having a subcommittee to help them come up with ideas would be helpful. The images that we were presented in the come on of let's move in were a little confusing because I'm used to just seeing stuff from the outside. They just didn't know in the presentation, but everything looked very hard edged. And that may be just the way the design was drawn. I don't know. I think you can probably work with this group of people. It sounds as if they're interested in learning about Santa Fe style and what would fit in that area. But they have a ways to go, in my opinion. And I appreciate the comments made by Ms. Beachside, also very important comments. So thank you.
My name is Carl Horn. I live at 311 Christmas Lodge, which is the Roque Lobato Sylvanus Morley home. I've lived there since 2004, at least owned it since 2004. I just want to remind everyone about the historic nature of this intersection. It's named after the name Magdalena. That, of course, was the wife of Roque Lobato. La Garita was a block away. It's now gone. The Sarah Morley house has been completely destroyed. And it would be a shame to see the height, the massing, and the setbacks of this project go forward. It is not at all in keeping with the remaining structures in the neighborhood. I think La Loma is incredibly important for the historic footprint of this area. This obscures that. A monolith is going up. It's more appropriate for 2001 Space Odyssey than it is for a historic corner in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I can assure you that Sylvanus Morley would be horrified if he had looked at the renderings that we've seen this evening. So, thank you.
Sure.
My name is Tom Jones. I live at 322 Magdalena compound. We're just up the road a little bit and try to be quick. One thing I see is they ask for a height variance in the upper lot. I don't think variances should be given to developers. They know what the rules are when they buy the lot. They should design within them. And let me, without going into talking about the style, let me just say I agree with all the other speakers. Style just doesn't fit in with our neighborhood at all. Cantilevers, windows, three lights stacked as opposed to say 2 by 3, 2 by 8, something like that. The other thing is that somebody's already said that the people who are adjacent to them on the north side have done a lot of work on their property. They certainly have, the first two speakers here. And they've done a good job. Fits in with the neighborhood well. I don't think it's fair to them to allow a setback right against their property, right against their driveway. One other issue that hasn't been raised that I'll just mention is a safety issue, actually. When you live on Magdalena Road, you come out Magdalena and you have to turn left or right onto Paseo. And coming from the east, cars sometimes come down that hill quite fast because they're trying to make the light at Bishop's Lodge. And the visibility is just good enough right now. But if you allow a 2-story structure right on that corner, it's going to decrease visibility on that corner and it's going to make it even more hazardous. So you have a safety thing to think about here too. And in fact, the driveway for this place is going to have, with 2-story buildings in front, it does make a bit of a traffic problem. That's all I want to say. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone online that wishes to speak?
Yes, Chair Rios, we have Ms. Beninato who has been sworn in. Just 1 second.
Thank you, Stephanie Beninato. I agree with most of the speakers already and with the board's comments. I think that it is totally out of scale. It is certainly not Pueblo style. I don't see really any 1-story structures in there, and that all the lower parts, I guess, are into the interior and not on the exterior. And I don't know that you need, if you want to have a 2nd-story bedroom, great, but you could set it back and not have a sort of loft type space there. I think that the driveway garages are, again, very difficult to negotiate. And I think the massing, I don't think there should be an exception for a 27 some odd foot building. I think 24 is pretty high, especially on a hill. And again, it's too close to the street. It is not in keeping with the streetscape. And even the video, I have to say, was a little deceptive in that it made it look like there were a lot of large buildings behind it, when in fact what you have are 1-story homes that are on hills. So I would urge the board to require a re-plan of this And if some board members want to form a subcommittee and help them out, that's great. But I just feel like the designer doesn't, or architect doesn't have a really strong concept even of what Pueblo style means. And that in itself makes it difficult to work with. And as for the retaining wall, I think if it's structurally unsound, it is really a poor idea to build right to it. However, if that retaining wall's been there, it could be that they do have a right to come on to the other person's property to maintain it, but it would be a limited right. And again, that would be a legal matter that would be established, by use. Thank you.
Very much. Is there else online?
Chair Rios, I see no other hands raised.
So I want to thank everybody that came out here this evening and made their concerns known. There was one person that said we have a ways to go. And I agree with that. That this property has come before this board numerous times. And the property owners have the right to build something there. But this board is formed to try to get the correct, the proper, the right buildings built there that are compatible, that are in harmony with the neighborhood. And in harmony, many of you brought up many issues that are legitimate. So I think that we should form a subcommittee because I do think something will take place there, but let's try to work together to get the best project there. And that's what I think that we need to work on. And in order to work on that, I think right now, I think that we need to have a subcommittee work with the architect or with the developers of this project. And I think the subcommittee, all of us on this board, heard all the concerns, the height concerns, the traffic concerns, even though we are not part of the traffic, but the city is. And eventually when this property goes for a permit, they have to have the proper parking area. But as far as compatibility to the neighborhood, the harmony with the neighborhood, the height, the proper architectural style, this is a very prominent area. So we do want the proper lots of buildings are being proposed for the area. So you want to make sure that we do get the proper buildings there. And
I'm sorry, Chair. I just want to let you guys know the architect has joined the meeting online. And if you guys have any questions for the architect, he is available.
And who is the architect?
Oh, Braden Fury.
So the architect would like to comment?
He's available if you guys have any questions.
Any questions for the architect at this point? But I do have some suggestions in reference to a subcommittee.
Sorry, Madam Chair, I just wonder if this project is even close enough to have a subcommittee be effective at this point. I think usually we're a bit closer to identifying the specific elements that require adjustment. I think this is really far from a design that we can, especially as people who aren't architects, comment on.
Yeah, I think if I can just comment on that, I think the problem is that the architect and the applicant, I think maybe were, as I said originally, under the impression that, the general structure had been more or less approved and they just needed to get reapproval. And I think it's true. I think that this board is expressing the fact that no, they're, as presented, this is not an approvable project. It would need quite significant redesign to be considered for approval. So it may need
But in
another.
mind, I'm thinking we have two people to kind of help give them some guidance in reference to what they might come forth with later on.
Maybe it's a good idea to ask the architect what he thinks about that. If he's amenable to that, and how he has any ideas of how that process could work with where they are in the design process.
Right, whether he would prefer to meet with a committee before redesigning, or just go ahead and redesign based on comments tonight and then meet with the committee.
Architect, did you hear that?
I did. I just want to say that
I need to swear you in, sir. I apologize. Please state your name and address for the record.
Braden Furry, P.O. Box 238, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87504.
Hi, Braden. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Has been sworn.
I just wanted to state, when I came onto this project, it had already had historic approval. It had been taken through the board before me with a different architect. I was hired to just take it forward with that approval to go to permit. So I, at the time, was only using the design that was already approved. So there was no, I didn't even have the ability to change anything at that point. We made small little modifications that were administratively approved, but nothing major without having to go through the process again. Those approvals had elapsed and we had used up all our extensions. So that's why it's coming back to you now, is there's a new owner, new contractor. And so that part of the process is basically starting over. As far as working with the subcommittee, basically this really isn't my design. So I think I would rather look at the comments, listen to the comments that were made, reevaluate the site as a whole and the neighborhood, and see where the changes would be made to be more in line with the neighborhood.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, thank you for that. And we shall see. I'm going to entertain a motion in a little while, but I do appreciate your cooperation so that you can come before the board. You had all the comments that were indicated this evening, and you can come forward with another actually with another project, because we really are looking at this as a two brand new projects, two brand new cases. So if you can submit that in the future, and then the board will look at that, and then if the board at that point feels that a subcommittee should be appointed, then we'll go forth in that way. So
Can I make some comments just regarding?
Pardon?
Can I make some comments just regarding sort of I guess what I heard at the site visit today, and just what I've also feeling myself, but what came up a lot was the harmony with the streetscape, I think, is one of the main detractors for board members, myself included. Just just kind of a massive wall across that street front, and in comparison to looking at all the other buildings, which we spent a lot of time walking down the street, looking at all the different buildings that were used to establish the streetscape. That's, I think, where the comments were made on that, were that it didn't match that streetscape. In reviewing the code and looking at how we're interpreting the code, I think that was the biggest thing, how it harmonizes with that streetscape. And then the style of this building as well. I think, modern is a good characterization of it, and modern Pueblo, I disagree with. I don't think there's much Pueblo in the style of it, but it's too modern and too unharmonious with the streetscape in general, I think, was the main detraction for myself and other board members. So those are my comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, since the applicant's going to do some redesigning, I would encourage the applicant to go back to the 2004 plans and re-review them, because it was also for very similar sized condo project on both of these two properties, and it was it's a style that I think would fit in very well with the streetscape, and there was some back and forth between the board and the applicant at that time to refine some of the detailing in terms of the roundedness of the corners and some battering of the walls, stepping back, the window detailing. I'm not saying that should be the plan, but that would, I think, be something to look at as a model, much more so than the 2014 version that you had to pick up from.
Any other? I will entertain a motion.
So,
Madam Chair, if I could remind the board and the members that the applicant is entitled to a decision if he demands it. If your decision is to deny the project, then he has the right to appeal. And essentially, if you're postponing for a redesign, you are denying him the right to appeal promptly. I would wonder if the applicant would state on the record if he is amenable to a postponement.
Yeah, thank you for that. I meant to say that. I meant to ask that. So the question to the applicant is, you can have a denial if you want that, if you prefer that, so that you can take it up on appeal to the governing body. So it's your choice whether you prefer a postponement for a redesign or an outright. Well, I don't even know. I can't guarantee it's a denial, but it seems to be headed that way. You're entitled to a vote.
I could interrupt. I don't think it's the applicant, it's the board that makes the decision whether to deny or to postpone. And I would suggest that the board move to the postponement. The applicant has indicated he wants to resubmit a new design.
I think there actually is something in the ordinance that entitles the applicant to a decision, but I think it's just fairness, fundamental fairness at the.
Yeah, I think it comes down to rather abstract due process considerations. The board can't just actively deny a project by postponing it and postponing it. I've never seen this board specifically do that, but there is a concern that that would be improper.
Does I mean, maybe it's a non-issue. Is the applicant desirous of proceeding with the redesign? Applicant?
Applicant, could you hear us?
Well, for me, I would.
Sorry, I forgot. I thought we were talking.
It's
on
okay.
Zoom.
Yeah, yes, we are willing to modify the design in a way that is
okay, great.
presentable to
Thank
the board. Yes.
I'm sorry, I can't understand.
Yes, we are willing to read this,
Okay, thank you.
modify the design. Yes.
Okay, great. So I can make the motion if no one else wants to, whatever. So I'll do the first case, 2026-012491 HDRB 511 Paseo de Peralta, move for postponement, not to a date certain, but to a time when the applicant is ready to present a redesign as indicated is the applicant's desire. And taking into consideration the comments of the board as well as the comments of the public.
Degnan, second. Vote, please.
Member Bescheid?
Yes.
Member Cherry?
Yes.
Member Degnan?
Yes.
Member Benvenu?
Yes.
Motion has passed.
Okay, so I guess I did them out of, yeah, I did them out of order. So now I'll do 2026-012490 HDRB at 507 Paseo de Peralta. Move for a postponement to such a time as the applicant is ready to present a redesign, having taken into consideration the comments of the board and the public, as the applicant has indicated is the applicant's desire.
Degnan, second. Roll call vote, please.
Member Cherry?
Yes.
Member Bescheid?
Yes.
Member Degnan?
Yes.
Member Benvenu?
Yes.
Motion has passed.
And thank you, applicant. And thank you all that spoke this evening, and we'll see you again. Next case is located at 539 Garcia Street.
Okay, so my applicant is here. This is case 2026-012579 HDRB for 539 Garcia Street. The property sits about 115 feet east of Garcia Street behind another residence on a narrow dirt private road. The Historic Districts Review Board approved the construction of an addition to the height of 10'6" and a 206 square foot or tall and window and door replacement on the main residency, and the conversion of the garage to a casita by installing new windows and stuccoing and re-roofing. In a previous case, that was on May 12th. Thank you. They postponed the garage door replacement with a request for a redesign. This request addresses that redesign of the garage opening. The Adobe one-car garage is Pueblo Revival style, consistent with the house style and dates to 1940s. It is listed as contributing to the downtown and east side historic district, with the south elevation as the primary facade, excluding the non-historic garage door. The applicant requests to install a bifold door system measuring approximately 9'4" by 7 feet high, maintaining the original proportions and visual scale of the garage opening. The doors are designed to fold completely open, allowing the opening to function as a flexible studio entrance while preserving the original garage opening. The doors will be recessed and stained in a wood finish. The applicant is not altering the dimensions of the garage door as requested by the board in their May 12th hearing. Staff also finds that the new design speaks to the garage opening. And this is a sample of the doors that would be located in the garage door opening. Staff recommends approval of the proposed project and finds that the application complies with 14-4.6E general design standards and 14-4.6 G2 for the downtown and east side design standards. Stand for questions.
Any questions for Lanny? No questions. Applicant, would you get forward, please?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you have reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
And
Should I
please-
state my name?
Please state your name and address for the record.
Yvonne Geisler, 804 Camino Acoma,
Thank you.
87505.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us bring this back. I think my client's happy with where we landed on this. I hope the board is happy. Madam Chair and the board need comments, questions.
I think you did a really good job.
I agree. Thanks. Thanks for the work you put into it.
Any
That's
questions? Anyone in this room wanting to comment on this project? No one, Anyone online?
Yes, Chair Rios, we have Ms. Beninato.
Hi, Stephanie Beninato. I guess because the drawings haven't been changed, I'm not really quite sure. First of all, there seems to be two different doors being proposed. So which are going to be the ones that are actually going to be there? And is there glass behind those doors or are they actual opening doors? Those are my questions. Thank you. But I do appreciate that they went to the trouble of making them look like garage doors.
Those are the doors that are being proposed. correct?
These are the doors that are being proposed. There will be no glass behind them. It's just going to be open.
I'm gonna guess there's no one else online. No one else online, so a motion is in order.
I can make a motion.
Please do.
In case 2026-01257-9 HDRB at 539 Garcia Street, I would move to approve the application as presented, noting that it meets all the requirements requested in the prior hearing.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Member Bescheid,
Yes.
Member Benvenu,
Yes.
Member Degnan,
Yes.
and Member Cherry.
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Is the applicant here for 301 Camino Militar?
The applicant is present.
Any?
Okay, this is case 2026-012569 HDRB for 301 Camino Militar for new construction. Camino Militar runs south from Canyon Road, just to the west of Apodaca Hill. The area homes are in Spanish Pueblo Revival and sit back from the road. Most structures are obscured by heavy vegetation. 301 Camino Militar consists of 3 existing structures on 1.38 acres. According to the county assessor's website, there's a main residence that was constructed in 1950, a guest house that was constructed in 1920, and is most likely the original residence on the lot. There's no information regarding the existing shed located on the west of the property. The residence is in Spanish Pueblo Revival style and is 2 stories on the west side and single story on the east. The shed and guest house are also in Spanish Pueblo Revival style. The main residence is currently listed as non-contributing to the downtown and east side historic district. The shed and the guest house are not statused. There is not a historic cultural properties inventory for the property. While staff generally requests new HCPIs where one does not exist, in order to status the property prior to working on existing buildings, request is for a new structure, so we did not request a status review for the existing buildings. The applicant is proposing to construct a freestanding 754 square foot garage to a height of 12 feet where the maximum allowable height is 14 feet 6 inches. Garage is designed in a simple Spanish Pueblo design. There will be 2 10-foot wide by 9-foot tall automatic doors on the west elevation. Doors are currently planned as metal roll-ups in the style. A solid wood pedestrian door will be on the north elevation. Windows will include 3 windows on the east and 2 on the south elevation. All windows are wood clad, single light, and will not be publicly visible. The garage will be stuccoed in cement stucco in La Luz to match the residence. The roof will be a foam system and a mini split condenser will be located on the east elevation on the ground and will not be publicly visible. Staff recommends approval of the proposed project and finds that the application complies with section 14-4.6E general design standards and 14-4.6 G2 for downtown and east side design standards. Stand for questions.
This is Park Garage.
Yes.
Any other questions? Other questions? Is the applicant here?
Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Michael Salambini and 125 Lincoln Avenue, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87501.
Thank you, Michael. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. He has been sworn, Chair.
Anything further to add?
Pardon me?
You have anything further to add to what?
Just briefly, I just wanted to say, evening, Chair Rios and members of the Historic District Review Board. The proposed project at 301 Camino Militar is a modest 754 square foot detached garage designed to be compatible with the existing Spanish Pueblo Revival architecture, as Lanny had mentioned. It's found on both on the property and throughout the entire neighborhood. The garage remains below the allowable height, utilizes traditional Santa Fe materials and finishes, and has been sited and designed to preserve the historic character of the property and the surrounding streetscape. Staff has found the project to be consistent with all the applicable historic district standards and has recommended approval. And we just want to thank you again for your consideration on this as we respectfully request approval of the application as submitted. And I stand for any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Anyone in this room wishing to comment on this particular project? No. Anyone online?
Yes, Ms. Beninato?
Stephanie Beninato, I thought I heard that there were metal doors on the garage, which does not seem in keeping with the historic character of the house, and just wonder about that, or if it's gonna look like wood, even though they're sort of like ones that go up and into the ceiling of the garage. And I also wonder how close it is. I think it is to the guest house, since the guest house might have been the original structure and the staff has not required it to be statused. If it was considered contributing, then is this going to be within 10 feet of that or not? That's my questions as to whether it would interfere with that if it was given a contributing status.
Stephanie, is there anyone else online? Nobody.
No, Chair, no more hands raised.
Just to answer Stephanie's question, there is over 10 feet between the two buildings.
Thank you. So if the board didn't have any questions, then I will entertain a motion at this point.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In case number 2026-12569 HDRB at 301 Camino Militar, I move to approve the application as submitted and recommended by staff.
Degnan, second.
Member Benvenu?
Yes.
Member Cherry?
Yes.
Member Bescheid?
Yes.
Member Degnan?
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Hear that? Next case is located at 426 Delgado Lane. Planning.
Okay, sorry about that. This is case 2026-012-578 HDRB for 426 Delgado Lane for a remodel. 426 Delgado Lane is located on the west side at the end of the road. The single-family residence is known as the Russell House and was constructed of adobe in late 1928. likely by Rose Parker Curtis. The residence is listed as contributing to the downtown and east side historic district, and the east is designated as the primary facade. The guest house is listed as non-contributing due to its age. Tool shed is designated as contributing with the east as the primary facade, and the east yard wall is designated as contributing. The applicant is proposing the following remodel on the main house. They want to construct a total of 570 square feet of additions on the main residence, which includes a 93 square foot addition on the north side to extend the kitchen. That's actually located here in the red, if that helps you. The addition is to the adobe structure and will be constructed of new 10-inch adobe walls with 2-inch polystyrene and plaster on both sides of the new wall. This addition will not have undulating parapets to differentiate it from the historic residence. They will also be constructing a 392 square foot addition on the south side of the residence to create a closet and bathroom. This is the green circle on the drawing. This addition is the framed portion of the residence and will be of frame construction. This addition will not have undulating parapets to differentiate it from the historic residence. The windows will be the same style as the proposed replacement windows for the rest of the residence. They will also be constructing a 12 square foot addition to the mechanical room on the west elevation, creating a single line at the 1990s addition. This is the small blue circle. And then they want to extend the existing 230 square foot porch hall by an additional 85 square feet for a total of 315 square feet on the west elevation. And this is the yellow circle. Give me a second to look at that. And then the applicant is also proposing to raise the roof of the garage enclosure on the northwest corner by about 2 feet and undulate the new parapets to blend it with the main portion of the residence and create a bedroom. Want to replace non-historic windows throughout the residence with aluminum clad double hung windows in a Mediterranean color. And repair the historic windows in the residence, which includes windows 1 on the south of the east entry door and number 9 on the northwest, 13 on the north elevation and 15 on the north of the east entry door. Unfortunately, the drawings in this slide are not actually numbered, but it includes all the windows on the eastern side. And then they want to stucco in cementitious in a buckskin color. And then at the guest house, the applicant is proposing to construct an 800 square foot garage addition on the east elevation. That's a 2-car garage. The guest house is on the 0 lot line. Or the new garage will be at the 0 lot line. And the neighbor has provided an affidavit allowing the lack of setback as required. The garage door will be on the north and will be a wood carriage style. We'll point out that that was listed incorrectly in my staff report. Due to the 0 lot line on the east, there are no fenestrations on the east elevation. And due to the proximity of the garage to the neighboring lot on the south, there are no fenestrations on the south elevation. The west elevation will have a pedestrian door and window. And the entire garage will be stuccoed in cementitious buckskin to match the house. On the property, the applicant is also proposing to create an opening in the contributing east yard wall in order to create a driveway access to the new garage structure. An exception is requested to section 14-4.6E42 to remove a section of the contributing wall. They would also like to install a vehicle gate in the new opening of the east yard wall, and the gate would be of metal frame with wood. And install a wall with pedestrian gate at the north end of the residence between the end of the east yard wall and the north yard wall. The pedestrian gate will mimic the existing gates in the east yard. When looking at the existing yard wall, the location of the proposed opening is where the southern non-historic planter currently sits. The more northern and larger of the 2 planters will be the remaining. Staff finds that the exception criteria have been met and recommends approval of the exception to 14-4.6E42 to remove a section of a contributing yard wall. Otherwise, staff recommends approval of the other elements of the application as they comply with 14-5.2D general design standards and 14-4.6G2 for the downtown and east side historic district standards.
Thank you, Lanny. How much of the contributing wall will be removed? How many feet?
13 feet.
Say that again.
13 feet.
That'll be a total of 13 feet in the different locations.
Just in the one location. There's already a fence, a gate at this other location.
Any other questions at this point? Board members?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Lanny, did you say that the guest house garage addition is 800 square feet?
Yes.
And is the guest house itself 744 square feet?
Yes.
So do we have an issue with the 50% rule?
It's a non-historic building.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions? The questions, applicant or applicants, please come forward.
Hi, please state your name and address for the record.
Gayla Bechtel, 320 Aztec Street.
And will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly declare and affirm the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I don't have any more things to add. I think Lanny did a great job with the staff report and the descriptions. Stand for questions.
Board members, do you have questions? Member Cherry.
Yeah. Hi, Gayla. There's two different garage doors shown. The proposed drawing shows just, long linear panels. And then it looks like there's another drawing in the packet that may sort of have come after that shows like a different style garage door. Can you clarify which door?
It's the wood panel swing garage door.
The glass above?
Yeah.
Okay.
The other one is the standard garage door in my drawing program.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not the one. It's the one in the photo that you have on the plan with the photo. Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Gayla, the garage is really large. Is that a standard size garage or does it look bigger because the house is small?
It's an odd shape because of the way the property is located in that sort of weird wedge. The 16-foot door is a standard size garage door and the two cars, and then it's just a matter of getting to some place that makes sense to turn the corner to come back to the guest house. It is, I believe that the drawing shows it higher than it is planned to be. It's actually lower than the house, not higher. The one elevation in the renderings, it's correct, but in the elevation, I noticed that it was showing it as higher, but in plan, it is large.
Thank you. That's helpful. And then I had one other question about there's a portal that where the openings are being arched. Can you tell us about that design decision?
On
the west elevation.
Right. That really came from my client wanting archways in some portion of the house, and that seemed to make sense. The back of the house is very plain, and it seemed an appropriate place to add the arches.
But those are not visible from the street. It's the east that face.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
The question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm sure it's in the packet somewhere, but is there any detail on the gate?
The vehicular gate
Vehicular gate that's going to be, yeah, set in.
will be similar to the existing, which is a very plain plank gate,
Okay.
very utilitarian in that regard.
Normally we require fenestration under our policy guidelines that were adopted, I don't know, some years ago. I personally don't think it would, or do you have a plan for fenestration?
We would be happy to.
I actually don't know that it's for me, necessary in this case because you're replacing a wall.
There are
It's up to you.
the existing pedestrian gate has fenestration.
Okay, so if you're matching it, I think that would
and
make
we could
sense.
certainly do that.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Any other questions? Anyone in this audience wishing to comment on this particular project?
Elizabeth West again. Here we go again, working together, the H board, working with the client. This is getting to be a little repetitious. You guys are working really well. I think this is a very interesting and odd piece of property, and it looks kind of wonderful. So, but I am just basically standing here saying thank you to the architect, to the owners, and to the board. I really think this is the way all of this should work. So bravi to everybody.
Elizabeth, anyone else? Anyone online?
Yes, Chair, we have Ms. Beninato.
Stephanie Beninato. I do think the garage is overwhelming. I understand that the structure's not contributing, but to have a garage that's bigger than the structure, I'm wondering if it could be done with just a one-car garage that could be a lot smaller. And I also wonder if the opening the gate that's to the, I think it's the south of the wall, if there's a rise in, are they adding on to that opening when they make the gate, or is the wall that high already? And then I believe there was a small addition to the kitchen, and I'm wondering if that is interfering with the primary facade or if it's set back 10 feet. Thank you.
Just to answer Stephanie's questions, the addition to the kitchen is set back 10 feet, so it will not be competing with the primary facade. The gate to the south is not being altered at all. I'm sorry, I don't know. Did I miss some other questions? Oh, the wall height is existing on this property.
Okay, Lanny. If there are no further questions, motion is in order.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Maybe for Kayla. Just noticing the style of the windows on the primary facade being different, the sort of horizontal or panel windows are being replaced with what looks like 6 panels, like 3 double hungs mold together. That correct?
The historic windows on the primary facade are not being replaced. Ones that are in that flank the door.
Okay, the other ones.
The other ones are not historic, and we are changing their form to look better. I've been thinking of a word to make it like have some architectural justification other than it just looks better with the 3 as opposed to the 2.
And those are double hungs?
Yes.
Yeah, right. Thanks.
For no further questions, I will entertain a motion.
Thank you.
What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? Oh.
In case number 2026 is 012578 HDRB at 426 Delgado Lane. I move to approve the application as submitted, noting that the exception criteria have been met for the removal of historic material as documented in the packet, and with the condition that the new vehicular gate be fenestrated in a manner that matches the existing pedestrian gate.
Cherry seconds.
Member Benvenu,
Yes.
Member Cherry,
Yes.
Member Degnan.
Yes.
Member Bescheid.
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Thank you, Gayla. The last case on this agenda is located at 1295 Cerro Gordo. And is that applicant here?
Yes, they are.
I'm sorry, is Harvey Monroe online by chance?
I don't see a Harvey Monroe online. Appreciate that.
Madam Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from this case because I've worked on the project.
Let the record show that Member Cherry is recusing himself.
I'm sorry, Maggie, was Harvey online? Okay, so the applicant is actually Harvey Monroe. The homeowner is here, but she's not comfortable with presenting the case. So, do you want to go ahead and postpone for now? Yeah, we can do that. Can we take a small recess while she tries to reach out to Harvey and see if he can get on?
Fine, since Member Beachhead is also out.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, we have a new planner, and her name is Lauren, and I'm so sorry, Lauren, that I did not introduce you, but in the meantime, can you come to the podium? And give us your first and last name and just tell us a little tiny bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Lauren Botts. I just moved here last week from, oh, sorry. My name is Lauren Botts. I just moved here to Santa Fe last week from New Orleans, Louisiana. I am originally from Lincoln, Nebraska, and my background is in anthropology and art history. I got moved to New Orleans for graduate school, went to school for historic preservation at Tulane. And long story short, here I am in Santa Fe. I'm very excited to be here.
Thank you, Lauren, and we'd like to welcome you. It's sorry that I did not introduce you
That's,
at the beginning
that's
of the meeting.
okay. Thank you so
Welcome,
much.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, Letty, will you proceed?
Okay, so Harvey should be on Zoom now. So this is case 2026-012-571 HGRB for 1295 Cerro Gordo for a remodel. A part of this application is for a garage structure. This has been withdrawn by the applicant. They're going to come back with a new design. The property is located on the north side of Cerro Gordo, just to the east of Armijo Lane. The Adobe 1930s Librado and Bacida Ortiz house is listed as contributing to the downtown and east side historic district. The board retained the residents as contributing, with the south, including the portal and east facades, as primary, and designated both the retaining wall and the planter walls as contributing on May 12th. The applicant proposes on the main residence to construct a 1,390 square feet of additions with 929 square feet heated space and 461 square feet of walls to a height of 15 feet where the existing residence is 14. An exception is requested to section 14-4.6 E22C to exceed 50% of the historic footprint. The additions are set back from the primary facades by 10 feet and sits on the northwest corner of the structure. The addition can be differentiated from the original structure through its style and height. A chimney will be located in the northwest corner of the northern addition. Windows will be simulated divided light, wood clad in blue. Doors are located under portals and will be full single light doors, except for the south elevation door, which will hold the divided lights. They want to replace the windows and doors. The circa 1990 entry door on the south primary facade is recommended for replacement in the window assessment. The door was replaced at some point and is not believed to be the original to the jamb. Recommendation is to replace the door panel and extend the jamb, or replace the door and jamb. The size of this door will change as a result of the lowering of the interior grade of the residence by 12 inches. The door size will become a standard door size. The window on the south primary facade is recommended to be replaced on window assessment, including arrangement of 3 sashes fastened together and fixed. This exterior wood condition is severely degraded. The recommendation is to replace. The window on the east primary facade is recommended for replacement. It states that it's a modern window made of finger jointed wood installed into what is most likely a historic window frame. The mullions are an applied grille. The recommendation is to replace. All non-primary facade windows on the residence will also. They want to stucco and cementitious La Habra, either in Desert Rose or Kokanee, and stain the wood in Southwest Hawthorn or Chestnut color. So these are our elevations here. Let me just go through those for you. Okay, and then the applicant has also proposed a new accessory structure, which is a garage with an office. They have chosen to withdraw the design on this packet and will
Yes.
recently submit a new design for this structure. They chose to do this based off conversations with staff and the staff report. Therefore, the garage will not be reviewed or voted on tonight. On the property, the applicant proposes to remove approximately 12 feet of the existing contributing retaining wall. An exception is requested to section 14-4.6E42 to remove historic material. They want to reconfigure the driveway, extend an existing wall on the east of the lot, and replace the existing slat fence with a coyote fence to a height of 6 feet and align with the front of the residence going to the west. And then construct a retaining wall on the east to support the new driveway configuration. The retaining wall will be constructed of stone to blend with the existing retaining walls. Sorry about that. The applicant did provide these renderings. This is the site plan with the changed entry to the property and the addition to the main residence. These renderings are the north and west elevations as proposed.
Bear with us one moment, members of the board.
Sorry, I didn't want to cough you out of the room. So this is the south elevation renderings. The upper image is as it would be seen from the street, and the lower peaks over the fence at the new addition. The exception criteria for section 14-4.6F2 to exceed the maximum allowable height is part of the application for the garage, which has been withdrawn. Staff finds that the exception criteria for section 14-4.6E22C to exceed 50% of the historic footprint not been met and recommends denial of the additions to the main residence. Staff finds that the exception criteria for section 14-4.6E42 to remove historic material from the front yard wall have been met and recommends approval of the alteration to the contributing retaining wall. Staff recommends approval of the other elements of the application as they comply with 14-4.6C general design standards for all historic districts and 14-4.6G2 for the downtown East Side Historic District. I stand for questions.
Any questions for Lanny at this point? So Lanny, you indicated that all the exception criteria have been met?
Not for the addition to the house. That is, we're saying that those have not been met, and we're recommending denial of the additions, basically due to the size of those additions, and then the exception to the removal of historic material from the retaining wall, we're saying those were met. I'm recommending approval.
And on the east primary facade, is the window opening changing?
No, it is not.
Other questions? Member Benjamin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'm not sure why, but I'm confused about exactly what's happening with the retaining walls. I see some 3D renderings. Can you just walk me through that again? The retaining walls, I think we considered, we focused on retaining walls when we we're statusing
Correct.
as being contributing and an important feature of the streetscape. And it's not 100% clear to me exactly what is being proposed to happen to the retaining walls.
Okay.
It might be easiest to look at like a photograph of the existing walls and tell me what you're going to do, what they're going to
I
do
don't
to them.
know. Do I have the photo? So the top photo here is the existing retaining wall. So the stairs and everything to the right is going to be removed in order to create a driveway that goes up directly to this property rather than going through the neighbor's lot.
Okay, so I actually found a photograph. So on page 1351 of the packet, it's a submission from the applicant. Yeah.
I'm pulling up the packet for you really quickly. And you said it was 13, member Benvenu?
Yeah, 1351.
Sorry, what was your question?
Well, if I could get that photo up, I'm trying to understand what's happening with the walls.
Are you looking at the applicant submittal portion?
It's page 1351 of the packet.
Oh, I don't have the packets the way you guys do.
Okay, so it's the second page. It looks like the second page of the application of the letter from the architect.
Thank you. Okay, let me go back up. This is. Okay, so of my packet of the applicant submittal, that's page 5.
It's not the second page, but it's right after his letter.
Correct. Okay, so that's page 5 of my.
Okay.
Can we share what's on this? Sorry, what's on my screen? It's not a PowerPoint, it's a PDF. I don't know if that makes a difference. Okay. That's what you're looking at? Okay.
So is that telling us are these blue lines showing what's going to be removed?
Yeah, so the one to the left of the stairs and then the first one is where the driveway is going to go. The blue square off to the right is where they're building the new yard wall portion. You see,
Okay, so how much, so they're removing how many feet of wall?
it's 12 feet,
And how much feet of wall did we designate as contributing?
the entire yard wall.
How many feet is that?
I don't know the full length.
Well, how much, what percentage of the contributing wall is being removed, would you say? I just don't know. I can't tell from the picture how much more wall there is.
I think we should ask Harvey that question. I'm sorry.
Okay. And the reason, I mean, okay, so basically, is it going to be reconstructed with the rock that's being removed?
The rock is going to go to the right for the yard wall there.
Uh-huh.
The reason for creating this as a driveway entry is right now the driveway entry is actually on another property. So they're separating their property. This used to all be one property.
Mm-hmm.
And so the neighbor to the right, they've split the lot. So the neighbor to the right now, they have to use that neighbor's lot in order to get onto this property from here. So they're looking at a new driveway in order to access the front of the house. We do have another entrance to the property at the rear of the property, but that has not been resolved yet.
But that hasn't been what?
We haven't resolved that because they haven't, they've withdrawn the garage portion of the submittal.
Yeah, I was wondering why you need a driveway in the front and a driveway in the back.
Their hope is to have access and park in the back. I don't know the reason.
Well, I mean, obviously this is important because they're asking for an exception to remove a contributing wall. So it seems we need to know, we just designated this as contributing and now they're coming back before us to say we were going to take it down. I mean, it seems to me you have to have a good justification for that, like a hardship, for example, and maybe if that was your only access, that will qualify, but there is a driveway in the back.
Correct. So
Where would this
directly to the front of the house? If they use the driveway in the back, they actually have to cross the entire property and to enter the building.
Well, so if there's probably a site plan that shows the driveway, but where does the driveway go?
The driveway in the back is off of.
No, the driveway that we're from Cerro Gordo. If that's going to become a driveway.
That section is where they want it to go.
I know. Where is it going to go?
Right.
It can't go into the house. So where does it?
So
end?
in the photo where the gentleman is standing,
Uh-huh.
that's actually the parking space.
Okay. And tell me again, is the rock that's being removed going to then be used to reconstruct a wall on the other side of the driveway?
He did not specify that the removed rock will be reused, but that the new wall will be rock. So.
And I can't really tell from this picture, but aren't there isn't there a sequence of walls stepping up from the driveway?
Right. The ones on the left are not being altered. It's just this one section.
Right, but even that one, isn't that a wall and then a flat space where the tree is and then another wall and then
It's a planter portion, yes.
okay, and is that upper rock of the planter, I guess the north side of the planter did we designate that as contributing or non-contributing?
I presumed that was all part of the retaining wall.
And is that also being removed?
Yes.
Okay. And all right.
Can we see a photo of the proposed, the elevation of the proposed, the existing and the proposed?
So this is the south elevation of the house. It doesn't have the site portion.
Well, I was wanting to see the walls.
Walls. Okay, that's kind of what I was waiting to hear. Thanks. More.
Just have kind of the rendering that they're doing. It's not an actual drawing.
So Lanny, with this rendering, are they going to be parking their cars right there in the front? That-
Yes,
Is that the object?
that's the idea, yes.
And then the wall to the right, what is the height?
That steps down, so it starts at about 3 feet and then steps down.
Questions, board members? Applicants or applicants, please come forward.
He's online.
We're online. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Harvey.
Okay.
Hi,
I-
Harvey, please state your name and address for the record.
Harvey Monroe, P.O. Box 1183 Santa Fe, New Mexico 87504.
Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, nothing but the truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. He has been sworn.
Okay, Mr. Monroe, you have the floor. Please talk to us about this project.
So the first item I wanted to address is the wall removal. I believe we have a neighbor who would not like traffic going across her property to the front of this residence. And it would be the only access from Sierra Gorda, which is the legal address of this property. So all deliveries, all people will be coming to this to the front of the building to access the house. And if they can't get up to the house from the street, then they will drive up the neighbor's driveway, which is not being blocked. So that by denying this, there is no way that people are going to go all the way around unaware of the secondary access to the rear of the lot, which crosses another neighbor's property as well. So we're talking about general public coming to this house. We're talking about emergency access vehicles coming to this house, delivery vehicles. They're all going to come to the front of the house where the legal address and the mailboxes are. We would remove the portion of the wall, which is 12 feet out of 54 feet. The materials that would be removed would be relocated to the adjoining spot that is the property line between the neighbor and this property. So by denying this particular request, you are forcing uninvited guests or male people to go across a neighbor's property. And so that's the main thing. Also, the wall itself is nice. We would reuse the materials, and it would be a like constructed wall, which is actually would be longer than what is being removed. The grade above the wall would be lowered so that it's not such a steep drive up. The other thing is that the stairway does not meet the safety codes that are generally used for construction right now. There's risers that are 12 inches. There's risers that are 4 inches. The steps themselves, the treads vary from between 7 to 8 inches to 12 inches. So it is very hazardous access the way it is constructed. So we also see that as a safety hazard. So that's the main reason we would like to remove the wall and relocate it to the east and give the neighbor privacy who we did meet with, and she would prefer not to have people drive up her driveway. So we see this as the best solution for providing the neighbor her property rights, as well as providing access to the front of the house where the majority of the people will be coming unless they're specifically invited for the rear access. Does that answer the questions concerning the wall?
Oh, yes, you've explained it pretty thoroughly. Do you want to address the portion that of the addition to the house?
Yeah, that was another thing that was in the previous status review at the last meeting that we attended. It wasn't really pointed out, but there was a historic garage structure where we are proposing to put in the kitchen of this new house. So in reality, historically, there was a larger building at this location. And if you had walked onto the lot, you could have seen a relatively flat area that has kind of a sand-colored soil where the garage used to be. That was removed about 30 years ago, but historically it goes back probably to the 40s or even the 30s. So in the report that was put together by John Murphy, it was documented at that point. And unfortunately, I did not reinsert it. I was told to remove it from the existing site drawings for this presentation. So I think that is a factor that isn't being considered when you look at the historic footprint of the building. Any questions concerning that?
See if board members have other questions or comments for them.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do have a question about the wall, continuing on that discussion. I'm looking at the site plan, the existing and the proposed, and I see a different shape in the planter to the left of the stairs, the current stairs. Are you planning to alter the contributing planters in the retaining wall?
The planter would be modified to allow for the turning radius of a vehicle to get up the hill. Right now, it would impinge on the turning radius of a car or truck going up there. It would be replaced with the same material and in better shape than it is currently. So,
and can you
go
tell
ahead.
us where's the current parking at this house? Is it not in front of the?
It's in front of the house.
And could you clarify which road or which access is the neighbors? Is it? 'Cause it appears that the driveway continues to be in the same place that it is now.
Yeah, because that accesses the neighbors. Actually, there's multiple neighbors that have access to that driveway. But the immediate neighbor that we have been in contact with is the one in the adjoining house to the right, which can be seen on the site plan.
And is that the same proposed access for the new garage?
No, there is another easement to the rear of the adjoining house to the west. It's basically their driveway. They're again not a suitable delivery route for larger vehicles. It's just a driveway width and it's not marked. So since this the address is on Cerro Gordo, that's where people are going to access the property.
Okay, yeah, I think that Cerro Gordo is kind of a special case. There's not a lot of well-marked driveways. It's kind of the nature of the neighborhood to be a bit haphazard and
Can I just point to the
Yeah,
screen for
sure.
you guys?
Thank you.
So right here is the gate. This is the entrance from the south. Way back here at the back of the house. This is the garage that they've withdrawn from the application right now. The property next door. And then this is the driveway that comes up to this property back here. Does that help?
All right, and then, so the proposed access is on Armijo.
Well, no, this
Or-
is the second entrance to the house.
Mhm.
The primary on Cerro Gordo is here. And so this portion, they come up the driveway this way and it leads to the neighbor's house. They actually have to turn into the neighbor's driveway and then turn into their property park currently. So that's what they're trying to remedy, is access directly to their property instead of going through the neighbor.
And are they still going to have to use a portion of someone's driveway?
This portion of the driveway is a private drive for all three lots.
I see.
It's accessible.
So it's just the problem right now is that it accesses a very small portion of the neighbor's driveway.
Correct.
But I'm gonna guess that this has been brought forward probably because the neighbor to the right is not amenable to having this neighbor get on the property, get on their driveway, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay.
The problem also is that when people come up this, they're parking in what is still considered part of the driveway. So like the neighbors and stuff, people are parking here. And that blocks access to this house back here. We did that today.
Other questions or comments in reference to this particular case?
We do have some public comments when you're ready.
Public comment, you want to come forward? Come forward and get sworn in? Yes,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, you can come.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth, this is Elizabeth West again. You know, I was thinking this is Miss Beachside's comment about Cerro Gordo being a little bit different, part of the fun of that area. Not a lot of driveways. That's not the first thing you see as you're driving along Cerro Gordo. It feels very rural in many cases. There are some exceptions. So I was thinking myself, if I were living there, I would probably take advantage of coming in from the back if there were a way of doing that and just saying, this is Santa Fe. It's a different way of living than, say, where I might have grown up. I have no idea what the people or the architect would want to do about that. I found, for me, it's a little bit confusing. So, and I haven't been on the property itself. It must be frustrating to have to figure out a way to share front entrance way with neighbors who are having trouble with everybody parking. But I heard somebody say that part of the reason there's a problem is because of there's the need for bigger cars. Of course, I would say, well, have a smaller car. But that's not what we're dealing with here today. We're not here discussing what kind of cars they should have. I'm glad you guys have to figure this out.
Hi. Please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
Teresa Armijo, 1299 Cerro Gordo Road. I'm the neighbor.
Okay, Teresa, do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
I do.
Thank you, Madam Chair. She has been sworn.
Yeah, I might be able to give you a little bit more background since I've lived there all my life, or most of my life. Before this issue even came up back maybe 20 years when the previous owner took over the property, there was a driveway that came in from Armijo Lane straight into the front of this house, Roberta at that time, Roberta Armijo's house. So it came right straight into the house from the other side, from the left-hand side, from Armijo Lane. When it was all family property, so you have to remember this is all family property. When my cousin who owned the property on one side decided to buy the property on the other side, he asked Roberta if she was willing to give up her access to the Armijo Lane highway through the back, where she had more room coming through the back of her yard, which she agreed to do. So that's where all this problem of how do you get to the front versus how you go from the back. This was never an issue before they took away that access road that she went through. Okay, so when she was going through, we didn't have a problem with that, and I don't see a real problem with them having to come in through Armijo Lane again, but instead of coming through the front, they'll have to come through the back. And they could get a road coming up around to the front of the house. But they don't want to, because they say they would have to cut down trees and plants. Well, I understand that too, but when I saw that proposal, it shocked me because it takes away the whole part of the property that I was growing up in. I mean, that they're taking away the retainer that, believe me, was there. I know it's been there at least 70 years because I'm over 70. So I know that property, that wall, that retaining wall is historical and has been there at least 70 years. And it has never caused a problem before. And why it has to come down, I don't understand. I feel for the people that bought the property because I understand what they want to do. But there's no really big issue when you have so much property in the back that you can come up and come around. And that's my main objective, that I feel that, they're making a big thing out of nothing. And that's all I have to say. Any questions? Thank you.
Anyone else in this audience wishing to come forward and speak?
Okay, please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ann Fout. My address is 107 Jimenez Street.
Thank you, Anne. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalties of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, madam.
So I just want to say there's a basic misunderstanding here. We are not proposing this front driveway for our convenience. We will most likely mainly use the back entrance, the back driveway. The front driveway is for delivery vehicles, emergency vehicles, and probably some guests. But let me just explain something. Since we have been owners of the house, we have called several people, contractors, and other people up to the house, mainly contractors, to take a look at things for us. And we give them the address, 1295 Cerro Gordo. And we explain in great detail, you may not enter the front of the property, even though there is a driveway there. We explain that they have to turn left on Armijo Lane and on North Armijo and go up to the first driveway. And there They can take a right, and at the end of that driveway, there is a gate, and we will have that gate open for them. That is the only legal way that they can get into the property. But every single one disregards those instructions and goes right up the driveway, crosses Teresa's property, sometimes parks there. And Teresa has had a history of people damaging her property who have been coming up using the driveway to get to our property. I would like you just to imagine if there was an emergency and an ambulance needed to be called, and you give them the address. Are you going to be able to explain to them, this is the address, it's on Cerro Gordo, but be sure that you make a left on North Armijo, go up to the first driveway and take a right, and at the end of that driveway, there's a gate, and someone will go out to open that gate for you, and then you can enter the property. That is not safe. It's not how people would respond. They are going to come right up to the front. They're going to look on their Google Maps. They're going to type in the address, and that's where they're going to go. So we're not asking for this access to the front of the property for our convenience. That's the misunderstanding here. This is for delivery drivers, emergency vehicles, and other guests who might not be as familiar with our property, you know, as others. So I hope that clarifies. Thank you for your comments. Do you have any questions for the applicant, for the owner?
I have a comment.
Yes.
So thank you for the explanation. That's very helpful. That what I take away from that is that you do consider the Armijo Lane access to be primary, and you'll probably be using that. And I guess historically it must have been used because there's no turnaround coming off of Cerro Gordo even today, or for your predecessor, right?
Yes, our predecessor.
There's never been a turnaround there.
No, Robin, because Robin was related to Teresa, it
Right.
was an easy understanding, you know,
Well-
between the two neighbors to make that Robin would use that driveway and.
Sure, she could, but I'm getting back to the ambulance.
Oh, right.
And the delivery trucks and the guests, they couldn't use that even up till today, right?
Oh.
Because they'd be blocking off her driveway.
That's
So they had to have been doing something different.
I don't know what they were doing.
But there is I can just tell you because I've done this before, there is a simple solution to your problem, and that is you change the address. It's very simple. You can just change it to a North Armijo Lane address and put the number right there at the gate. It's a matter of right, and it's simply done. Because there are a number of strange properties that have Cerro Gordo addresses that are not at all in Cerro Gordo. So it's a source of confusion in the entire area that you're in. And so other people have done exactly that, just to make it clear. We actually live on North Armijo. That's where the house is, and that's where the driveway is. It's 600 yards up from Cerro Gordo, even though it has a Cerro Gordo address. And so they've changed. And that's the simple solution, I think.
Well, I have a question regarding that. Would that change the historical designation of the property?
No. So it's just a thought that is something that you probably want to do that regardless. Because of the issues you
It's a
just raised,
possibility.
people need to know where to go.
The other, I mean, I guess that is a possibility, but the other thing is that the primary facade faces Cerro Gordo.
Right, but there's no access. That's your
no access.
problem, right? Okay.
So anyway, okay, so remember, board members, we not only, not only have the issue about the wall, but there also is an addition to the home. Okay. So,
Pardon, we have one more member of the public for public comment. Hi, please raise your right hand and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Eric Sykes, and I live at 107 Jimenez Street, Santa Fe.
Thank you, Eric. Do you solemnly declare and affirm that the testimony you have in reference to this item is the truth, the whole truth, and do this under the penalty of perjury?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So when I heard just change the address, that doesn't fix the stairs that are a hazard for anybody walking up the stairs that are being proposed to be removed for the new driveway. And I feel that the current access in the front through Teresa's, if the address were to be changed, there would need to be a blockade of that entrance and of where the stairs are that are unsafe. We can't have 24-hour, 12-month out of the year control of people coming to this house. And so I just wanted to bring that up, that as it stands now, just changing the address still, there will still exist unsafe, conditions of somebody possibly backing into Teresa's, blocking not only Teresa, her neighbor behind her, or somebody tripping and falling down the front stairs, which you may have seen today at the property. So I just wanted to bring that up.
thank you for your comment. Did I ask if anyone else was online make comments?
Yes, Chair Rios, we do have Ms. Beninato.
Thank you, Stephanie Beninato. I actually looked at this property when it was for sale, and I have to remind you all that the driveway that is being questioned is actually a common driveway. It's not just to one house, it is to other houses behind it. When we went there to look at it, we went up that common driveway and made the left in front of the house and parked there. And putting in a 12-foot wide opening is not going to get necessarily an emergency vehicle up in front of your house. And delivery drivers don't drive up driveways. They actually park in the street. And I live on a street that's quite, has 12-foot, 10-foot, 18-foot driveways. Delivery drivers never drive up the driveway. They park on the street. I think the best solution is to use the Armijo lane access. And if you have to drive across the lot, so what? That's what it's there for. And as far as the stairs are concerned, I'm sure the owners can come back in and ask to have the stairs redone so that they are done in a standard way, so they are not unsafe. But to take down a contributing wall that is definitely part of the streetscape, an important part of the streetscape there, I think is not justified by what is being said here, since they do have this other access and it's still a very small parking area. And also in terms of the addition, I think it's a very large addition. I don't think it's justified. And just because there was a structure there 30 years ago, I don't think it's as big as what they're proposing. So I don't think it's justified in any way, shape, or form. So I can't say that it's a hardship. And again, I do emphasize that there's an easement on this common driveway that's been in use for years. And it's not just this one, 1295, it's houses behind it. So again, I don't see any justification to take down this historic wall to somehow pretend that an emergency vehicle is going to come up it, or that delivery drivers can't figure out where Armijo Lane is and come around. Thank you.
You have further questions or comments to the applicant or to staff? If you have no further questions, then motion is in order. Remember these quickly. These calls for exceptions, so you have to address the exception.
The house behind me, we talked about, we're here the first time, is my other cousin's house, and they have their own driveway up through the other side. They have a driveway coming in through the right-hand side, and then I have the driveway on the left-hand side. So they have a driveway of their own to go up. As far as an emergency occurs or whatever, I had told Eric that I'm not a hardcore person. If they needed to bring an emergency vehicle up the road, they could, you know, and I wasn't gonna give them a hard time or anything about it. Just let me know what you're doing. That's all I ask. And, you know, I'm not saying that there is no reason that they couldn't park there on occasion if they needed it as an emergency. But the only thing I have or that I feel is they have their own driveway and they should use it. Everybody else does. Thank you.
The motion is in order at this point. Please address the exceptions.
Try case number 2026-012-571 HDRB at 1295 Cerro Gordo Road. With respect to this application, there are 3 requests for exceptions. So I'll take them in order. The first exception is for an addition that exceeds 50% of the historic footprint. I would move that the board adopt staff's responses that the applicable exception criteria have not been met and deny the exception request on that basis. With respect to the second exception request to exceed the maximum allowable height on the garage structure, again, I would move that the board adopt staff's findings and responses that the exception criteria, all exception criteria have not been demonstrated to have been met by the applicant.
The height exception is for the garage, which has been withdrawn.
Okay.
Thank you.
And with respect to the removal of a portion of contributing retaining wall, in this case, for the reasons stated tonight, I would move that findings be entered that those exception criteria have not been demonstrated to have been met by the applicant. First exception criteria being do not damage the character of the district. I would find that the board has found that the contributing that the wall as it exists today is historic and an important characteristic feature of the applicable streetscape on Cerro Gordo Road that would be damaged by removal of a large portion of that contributing wall. That the exception is not required to prevent a hardship to the applicant on the basis that this is a pre-existing condition that has not changed since the applicant purchased the property. It's been a condition that's been in effect for many, many years. And the applicant has another alternative and indeed the applicant has indicated that alternative is expected to become the primary egress and ingress to this property, namely off of North Armijo Lane. And that the third criterion that it's necessary to strengthen the unique heterogeneous character of the city by providing a full range of design options so that residents can continue to reside within the historic districts is not met because again, this is a pre-existing condition that has been satisfactory to the previous owner for a number of years, has not caused any problems that are known, and the applicant has another option, which is to access the property from Armijo Lane. Therefore, I would move that part of the application be denied.
Is there a second? Motion.
Beachai will second the motion, and maybe just note for the record that the material we're discussing removing by exception is field stone from the Cerro Gordo area. It's been there for, it seems close to a century, in portions of the planters that are part of this property and by the testimony provided by neighbors.
Accepted. Thank you.
Member Cherry.
It's recused.
Thank you. Member Cherry is recused. Member Benvenu.
Yes.
Member Bescheid.
Yes.
Member Degnan.
Yes.
The motion has passed.
Thank you.
Apologize, I need some clarification. They are also asking to replace windows and things like that, which were not addressed in your motion.
You're correct. Thank you for that. I would move to approve the other aspects of the application, all other aspects other than what's been withdrawn for tonight's hearing.
Yes. Second.
Member Degnan.
Yes.
Member Bescheid.
Yes.
Member Benvenu.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
Anything else, Len? That was the last case this evening. Staff, do we have any discussion items?
Oh, Cheerios.
Matters for the board. Yes, Member Chair.
Sure. I'd just like to say thanks, Gary. It's been a pleasure having you in this setting, and also for the past 19 years that I've worked in the historic district as the director and as the inspector. Really a pleasure to work with you.
I'd just like to say, it's bittersweet, and it's been a long run, and it was my pleasure to work with you as well. And it's a decision that was made long time ago before. Well, so something that came in last year was a letter that Harold sent to me, and that's when everything started, and whether I wanted to do this or not. But it was a pleasure working with you all, and I will miss all of you.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So matters from the board. I need a clarification in reference to one of the cases this evening. I felt like you were indicating that we needed to ask permission of the applicant to make the motion, whether it was a denial or. I was very confused on that.
Pardon me, Madam Chair, I cannot
Sure.
hear the conversation.
A little closer to the mic.
You want me to repeat that? Okay, it's just that I was confused in terms of a case this evening. We were making a motion that the board was asking the applicant for permission to ask, I guess they were giving them an option. Do we deny this case or do we postpone?
Madam Chair.
The city attorney said that this was due to due process. But when I ask for a motion, we're not asking the applicant, is this okay if we make a motion Are you in agreement with this motion or denial? Postponement?
Madam Chair, yes, I can explain that. Yeah, the code doesn't read, you have to ask the applicant for permission to make a motion to postpone. This, a postponement is essentially the functional equivalent of a denial. Now, granted, you may take up that application sometime in the future and grant it, but the applicant comes here seeking approval for a construction project, and to postpone is the equivalent of telling them, sorry, you can't build that now. So you could make that motion to postpone, and the applicant could feasibly challenge the postponement. By the time the applicant challenges that postponement, you may have taken up the application again and granted it. It's just a formality that I think is consistent with due process to ask the applicant, is this all right with you? You could postpone it over his objection, right? Or you could deny it. But the fact of the matter is,
I think the fact that we have to ask the applicant, that just
you-
doesn't make sense to me.
okay, Madam Chair, you do not have to ask the applicant. It is my preference that the applicant state on the record that he does not object to the postponement. Okay, right? And the reason is because a postponement is the functional equivalent of a denial, and he's entitled to appeal a denial. And there are boards that have effectively denied an application by postponing and postponing and postponing. And
Okay.
honestly, my experience is city boards aren't as bad about that as county commissioners are. Right?
I see
Right,
a
but-
postponement. I don't see it as a denial. I see it
Yeah.
as an opportunity to give the applicant
Yeah, I know you don't see it as a
come
denial.
back before the board with another submittal, and that's usually stated in the motion.
Right.
I don't think that it's the equivalent of a denial. It's that it's not allowing the applicant to move forward with their project,
Yeah.
which they have a right to do. And so if a denial, in other words, the reason we're postponing is because they're looking at a denial. And what we're saying is you can have that denial if you want it and go on and appeal, but if you would rather work with us and get an approval, we're going to give you that opportunity. I think that's the thinking. It's not that the postponement's not equivalent to denial. It's the lack of a denial that puts them into a state of limbo where they're stuck and they're completely at our mercy at that point, because we can delay that as long as we
It's
want.
like postponement.
And it
purgatory.
prevents them from appealing because the applicant doesn't have a final.
Yeah, no, I understand why you feel that way. And,
I think you need to give them an opportunity to come back before the board because we want to work with them.
but what if they don't want that
Yes.
option because they're not going to change their project under any circumstances? Then it's not helpful to them to get a denial. They want to immediately go up and appeal it and move on.
It's not helpful to.
It's not helpful for them
postpone
to
it.
be stuck if they know they're not going to make any changes which is sometimes the case. We've had applicants
think
say,
the
I'm
way-
not going to change it.
The way I'm looking at it is you're not asking them permission for postponement. You're just asking them like they came for an approval or a denial, and you're proposing a third situation, which is like this option to postpone to work with the board, saying, would you be amenable to that? And if they say, no, I don't want to work with the board, then we can say, great, we deny you.
See, postpone as opposed to the project. I think the project was very questionable. And then they're gonna go before the that needs to be resubmitted
Yeah.
to the board.
But it gives us the opportunity to deny it with lots of reasoning, like your well-explained last motion that you made, with backing it up with, here's the reasoning, here's that we're denying it, which hopefully is creating some defense at the city council. Is that correct? Like if
I don't know how it would play in front of the city council, how it would play in front of a district court is more of my, consideration. I think that the thing about it is that if they get a denial, if they say, no, I'm not going to change this, they can appeal it to the governing body. But if you postpone it, it denies them the opportunity to appeal, which is their right.
It does. So they can't appeal a postponement.
Correct.
Okay.
There's nothing that they have to have a final decision.
Just puts them into purgatory.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is not what land use boards are supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. So on the other hand, if they say, that's fine, I'd rather redesign this, in which case they're, acquiescing to the postponement, we're not denying them anything, Yeah.
The thing. Okay, our next meeting is July the 14th. Yeah. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. This begs the question, but I'm going to go ahead and wade right in. To what extent are we allowed to advise any applicant on what they should do with their project? That is not what our role is.
There's nothing that says, Madam Chair and Member Dagnon, there's nothing that says you can't do that. There's nothing that says you can. You have a lot of discretion how to run a meeting. If you ask the applicant, are you willing to do this? And the applicant says, sure, I'll look at it.
Yep.
But the applicant can tell you, no, I'm not going to do that.
Mhm.
Not going to do that.
Or they could say, yes, they are going to do it. And it makes the process more efficient, right? Because if we participate or give them the option to form, say, a subcommittee for that particular project, and then we participate in the board's likely to approve this and this and this, it allows them to go through a design process and come back rather than come back again like they're guessing, they're throwing darts, going like, maybe they'll like this, and then they come back, nope, go try again. And
right.
As opposed to if they work with us, if we give them the option of that and they accept it, then with a subcommittee, potentially it just sort of makes it easier for them to have a line of communication and that.
I appreciate your comments, and I very much approve of the whole notion of working with the community. I'm just wondering what we are limited in our capacity and working with an applicant. That's my question.
The code doesn't give us any guidance on that. Now I should tell you, there's one anecdote that I wanted to share with you, Madam Chair and Member Dagnon, is that I can't imagine you would just postpone and postpone and postpone and hope an applicant would just go away. I can't imagine you would do that. But there was one time when there was a postponement, looking back through the history of the H board, there was a postponement immediately before COVID, before the COVID shutdown.
Mhm.
So this applicant got a postponement and then couldn't come back before the board because the board didn't meet again for a couple of months. And then finally the board said, okay, well, we're going to do remote hearings, and it took a while to set that up. Right? And then I don't remember what the outcome was, whether the applicant came forward with redesign or what happened, but nonetheless, the effect of that one postponement was that he wasn't able to move forward for, I think, 3 or 4 months.
Mm. Okay, well, I think you did answer my question. I appreciate that about, there is really no clear language in the code saying we can or cannot, or what we should or should not say when we're working with applicants.
So,
Okay.
So humor me for 1 second, though. I know we're all wanting to leave, but but there's this aspect that part of this falls in the private sector, right? Like to form a subcommittee, that's really nice of us all and stuff, but they should be hiring people that are professionals have expertise in historic architecture to steward their project as their agent through this process. Is that create any kind of an unfair situation that we offer sort of free board advice through subcommittees to some people, but not to others?
Well, Madam Chair and Member Cherry, I think it depends on how receptive the applicant is. Remember that In Santa Fe, yeah, there are architects that do a lot of work in the historic district, but they have to make a living doing work outside the historic district too. So sometimes they come before the historic board and they're just maybe not. There are a lot of things that aren't in the code, like the bull-nosed corners and whether or not the distance from the corner of a window applies to inside corners or outside corners and that sort of thing. So there's ambiguity in the code that I think the architects that do a lot of work in the historic district know about all those, but the architects that don't it could be a complete surprise to them. So I don't know if that answers your question. The idea is that
Probably,
What?
it somewhat does. I mean, anything beyond is conversation for the parking lot, so I'll.
right. But I think you all have a lot of discretion, and I haven't seen that you're abusing your discretion in any way. I just think that a postponement is maybe not what an applicant is looking for. These applicants, they have contracts, they're looking at prices, you've seen a lot of projects that you've approved that either never get going or take forever. And I think it a lot has to do with supply chain and labor and that sort of thing. So, in land use, you want to get going as quickly as you can. And the courts recognize that.
I guess, Mr. Attorney, just keep us out of jail.
I will definitely do that. Thanks.
That's for Gary, because he has a good sense of humor. I thought if it was his last meeting, we could.
Is there a motion to
Move
adjournment?
say yes?
Yes.